Go. All right, everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Chat with Matt and Harry. When I say another episode, we haven't, like I was starting to say before, that we haven't done this in a while anyway. What had happened last year was I was doing the weekly Zoom chats like this. I was calling it Chat with Matt, and the whole thing was about us just connecting because, as we know, the world's still a little strange and off and everything that's been happening. And I like the live streams, but I like talking with you guys. And I really miss the shows. And it's kind of funny because I don't know if I miss the shows, but I miss you guys. I miss us being able to get together, listen to music, talk, all that fun stuff, throw a couple of drinks in the end, and then talk about everything. So now, and I was saying before the recording that we stopped because of me having my second born. So having a second child really took me for a loop, especially in the middle of all of this. It's been rough. I mean, and so the topics we're going to go over today, though, and I want to get back to a weekly schedule. So, I mean, when I did the last episode of this, I think we had like 20 people in there. So, we'll rebuild up the following. So we appreciate everybody who has joined for today. And today's topics we're going to hit on is audio shows for starters, because we have decided to go to a show. I mean, whatever we do in the larger picture, there's one show so far we've decided upon, so we'll talk about that. And then one of the big things we're going to talk about is, unfortunately, during the times of COVID, a lot of people have had issues, medical issues, and loss of life. And one of those people, he's still alive, but not doing too well, is Sid Marks, who was formerly a writer for the Absolute Sound and was a very big part of this industry. And Harry, we've been in charge of trying to go through his collection, his records, and sell it for the family. So we've been doing that. That is something that we have put on the BPI website to sell through there. And it's the kind of thing where it's like what we're doing is we're evaluating what it is, and then we're looking at what the cheapest price is, then the most expensive price is, then we're just picking a number in the middle. So that's our science. So we're not looking, and all the funds are going right to the family, short of whatever the credit card company or whatever the site takes for the fees and things like that. So with that being said, how you doing today, Dad?
I'm doing good. I'm actually shocked at how really nice this audio research is. I'm not trying to sell anything because I don't sell audio research, but when something is built nicely, I really have to comment on it, because this has everything that you've always wanted. I've always wanted. It's got the equalization, it's got the gain, it's got everything. I'm actually shocked that it's so good.
So that's nothing we're going to be talking about, guys. So Harry had some fun with this audio research in general, but we want to get to the DPI house, and so now we have it here.
It spent a couple of weeks in my house on the Apollo system, and that's an extraordinarily revealing system, and it really, really held up nicely. And now it's on the JBLs, which are, as far as we're concerned, the best speakers ever made.
Granted, it's also like what, $100,000?
70, 80.
Okay. 70, 80. I was wrong. So
Yeah.
they're modest 70, 80.
Really expensive, and you can't lift them.
Yeah.
Good, because there's no place to hold on to them.
Well, a lot of people asked when we first did the VPI house. I mean, everyone wanted the JBLs here. And the main reason the JBLs weren't here is because we didn't want to lift them. We finally brought them over when, was it Capitol? It was some event we did. We had a U-Haul, yeah,
Right after Capitol,
and we still had the U-Haul truck. So we took the U-Haul truck, drove it to the VPI house, which is now my house, and then we wheeled it out. And again, don't mind me, guys, just jumping up and down as I let people in. There we go, welcoming Tim. And so that's why, because when we first launched the VPI house, we had the blades, we had Genesis, we had Jeff Joseph, we had everything in here. And people were like, where's the horns? Where's the JBL? It's like, you want to come and help me lift them? Because I'm not. And everything that was able to fit in a Ford Explorer got here. If it couldn't fit in a Ford Explorer, it's
yeah, pretty much.
so it was an interesting time. So okay, that's still going on. So audio shows. The first thing is that I did an event with a dealer called Now Listen Here, Aaron Sherrick and Jessica Sherrick. You know them if you saw them. And it worked out really nicely. I mean, it was small, it was done right. It was social distance and whatnot, and it was a good experience. It was planned ahead and scheduled, and I was very apprehensive about going. Harry was excited, then he was like, wait, people? Or
Yeah. I'm too old to be involved in that.
Yeah. So especially during these times.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. So it was and right before I was getting ready to go, I got the riot act from both Harry and my wife, where it was just like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. I mean, the industry's still alive. We got to do something. I don't want to spread COVID, but I want to support our dealers. And it actually was really good. Aaron and them, and I'm not trying to like push them so much. I'm just saying that their model really worked. And there were actually some show providers who showed up just to watch how they did it. And I mean, you came in, they did a temperature check, all the chairs are separated, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was a lot better instead of like and those who I'm seeing other manufacturers. I see Gary's face up there. So Gary, it's good to have you joining us also. And, and it was just really wild because I think we actually had more time talking with the customer, not even the customer, the person who really cares, the guy or girl who wanted. And that's the thing, people talk about like the male and female audiophiles. I don't know. I see them both, but that's a topic for another, for another time. And I was actually able to discuss the HW40. We had the HW40, we had the Vanquish, and there's a guy, and Aaron, one day when you see this video, you can confirm for me, I'm 99% sure that this one gentleman bought an HW40 because of the experience that he had. I mean, he loved it. He had a VPI already. He was on the fence. And after the discussion, that was one of those like, I'm doing this. And maybe it would happen anyway. But with the shows, we're focusing on the VPI house foremost. That's the main thing, where the process of cleaning up. This place has been a train wreck since all of this, because no one was here.
No one was here.
So
no one wanted to come for a year.
Yeah. And when people did want to come, we had very minimal visits where it would be someone we know. Jay, we've had over. I got guys that we know and trust. People who've been vaccinated, things like that. So we've had like very private one-on-one sessions over here. We haven't had an event, and I don't know how our events are going to look. And we have even thought about, because we used to be proud, the biggest event we ever had, we had 150 people in this house once. It was chaos though. I mean, I don't think we really accomplished anything. I don't think anybody got anything out of it.
They had fun.
Yeah. I mean,
and they enjoyed the business. They did listen, but it was chaos.
Yeah. So we are even thinking about when we reopen the VPI, well, especially in the beginning, there's definitely going to be like a number limit as far as how many people we have here, but still getting a good like 20, 30 people. It's a good group.
Yeah. It's much better like that because you can actually converse with them. 150 people, half of them are eating while you're talking, or they're in the other room because they know so much that they have to tell everybody what they know. So you can't possibly say anything while they're basically, how can I say this? Pontificating in the other room.
You guys knew, and other manufacturers in this this group over here, I'm sure you've all had it, where you have that customer, and I hate to use the word customer because the person coming in to enjoy the experience is like, oh, that's pretty good. But if you really want to make something special, put this capacitor that I found in my garage. And there was one time, actually, I think it was audio research. We haven't had a full audio research system in a while, but we used to back at the first VPI listening room.
I tell them what it was. It was the 600s with the Ref 1 and the Ref Phono 1. So it was about 20 years ago.
So it's just absolutely insane. This was a big heavy duty system. It was the JBLs, because we had I'm talking about my office back when I was in there.
Oh, that one, that office.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking when we had the Alans that looked like this.
Oh God, we had that.
Yeah,
too.
that was actually 25 years ago. We had the big Alans at that time, which looked like a woman, and the shape of a woman, and a crossover which was 3 feet long and laid on the floor right behind them, so you tripped over it every day. And we had the Audio Research 600s and the two, the preamp and the phono ref units.
Yeah, so the experience that I remember, the first was, I remember we were in the factory. It was one of our first like open house things we did. And my office, so anybody comes to visit, the room that I'm in and Jane were in the back, that was our listening room. we had to pull it because we had too many drop-ins. My favorite was we were having a meeting with Nordos, Joe Reynolds and Michael Taylor. They all came down with a whole lot of wire to discuss things. And somebody showed up with a crate of records. Like literally just walked in, hey, can I listen to my record? I'm not gonna say no to the guy. I probably shouldn't have. But then that's when basically Joe and Mike and I were sitting with this random guy, like we're listening to records. We're just like, what the heck are we doing? You guys just drove all like 3 hours to do some business and we're listening to records, but which was nice. But when we had that listening room, we did an event and somebody just went crazy about what they would do to modify I think it was the audio research. You know what I'm talking about? The guy that
we've had a lot of equipment in there, so it's hard to remember.
But he was going on about what he solved and figured out. And again, I tell everybody, I mean, Dad, we started in the basement, so I mean, like an engineer in the basement has a lot of merit because eventually that engineer can emerge from the basement and become a powerhouse company. But on the flip side, you get these events where it's just things like that. Whoops. Where
I think he has to answer the phone. Oh, okay. He doesn't have to answer the phone.
No. So what I'm getting at is that this gentleman was going on about what audio research should really do. And I remember that's when you first said it. It's just like, wow, it's a good thing this guy in his basement figured out what the whole engineering team of audio research had no ability to do. So that's where it can get a little wacky.
Yeah, they actually remind me of the Jackie Mason joke where they're sitting at the dinner table and the wife says to the neighbors that are over, he made 40 million last year. If he only listened to me, he would have made real money.
Yeah. So going back to audio shows, and Martin, you're here, so I love seeing you at the Montreal show, Toronto show, and everything. And I really thought we were going to make it. And last year, the plan was Harry, myself, and another BPI staff at the time, we were going to hop in the car, we were going to drive up. Then things got bad. Actually, when I was at the Florida show with my wife and Shyla, I had a moment where I'm like, Jane, enjoy yourself. I have a feeling we may not be going anywhere for a while. I didn't think it was going to be this long. But halfway through that show, I was just like, let's go to the pool. Let's go to a nice pool. And I love the Florida audio show was a great show. I had a lot of fun with that. We were with House of Stereo, Joe Parvey, Mod Wright, a whole bunch of folks. Gary, I'm not sure if you were there. Michael, I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. It was a great show. But halfway through, it just hit me. I was just, because I'm starting to hear the news. I'm like, I think we're going to have a problem with shows soon. And so we kind of diverged and had a little bit more R&R. And I'm really glad we did it. And then I really thought we were going to get Montreal. Then I knew you were starting to get nervous, like, Matt, go without me. Then it was like, Matt, don't go. And then I was up in the air. We had a room all set with Jeff Joseph and who the heck knows who else. And then right as we were having that moment of like, what do we do? Montreal gets closed and, shut down everything. So that's why, I mean, I've always loved shows. I've loved the experience. But at this stage, we've now gone a year without shows, which means we've had a year of being able to focus on research and development, on building product, on just ourselves and everything. And
it's the best year you ever had.
It's been pretty good. Yeah, it's been it was surprising because when COVID this time last year, I honest to God thought we were going to go out of business because we were closing down. Actually, I was more so freaked out. I had over 50 HW40 sales in the Asian market, all canceled in the same week. So now imagine that as any manufacturer, like you have 50 of a product. And when I say 50, I mean, there's some were spaced out. It wasn't like, it was going to be over the course of a few months, but all of them evaporated. And you know what? The Asian market still hasn't fully come back. So, and now on the plus side, for anyone interested in HW40, they're still around. But that was really scary. And in the state of New Jersey, we were supposed to close, and we got lucky. We were able to stay open. And as we all know, we ended up doing the PPE supplies and everything. But in the midst of it, after the first, I'd say 5 months, the first 5 months were really, the first 3 months were awful. But then by the fourth month, I don't know if it was the stimulus checks, but it started with the accessories. Actually, it was this guy, the HW40 foot started like flying off the shelf. Last year, probably about a couple of months in, we had our best year in accessories. The cables, the center weights, periphery rings, everything. And I think because people were home, and let me just let this individual in. Here we go. And, so, and I just saw a message from Gary saying he survived on upgrades, and that was really it. Then we heard that, then I had some conversations. I'm not going to name names of other companies because I don't really know, but I'm aware that a lot of companies were unable to produce because their countries are closed down supply wise. And kind of as a warning to everybody, our prices will go up, unfortunately. Just mute that. Unfortunately, because of what's going on in the world, the price of aluminum, the price of acrylics,
Price of wood.
Yeah, suppliers have closed down. Yeah, when we went into this, we had 4 machine shops. And when I say machine shops, they're more like family. I mean, I think they were all at my wedding. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Breaking out merchandise.
Yeah. These machine shops are guys that were not even with me. They were with like my mom and dad for the past like 20, 30 years. And of the 4, we only have 1.5. I say half because like the other one just threw up his arm, said, I can't do this. And he was done. He moved down to Florida, sold off his business, and got gutted. Another one, we haven't heard from him. We don't know what's going on with him, but we've been trying. It's just then that business is gone. My big guy, the one that like has done, the HRX, the event, does the machining for this guy right here. He had 80 staff members at the start. He's still down to about 20 people. I mean, it's getting better, but the cost of aluminum, the cost of and wood, like Dad was saying here,
it's going crazy.
Yeah, we just did, just to give you an idea, a sheet of plywood, just plywood was apparently, and I might be getting my numbers wrong, I'm no woodworker, that was $25 about 8 months ago. Same plywood, $60. So, and there was a particular bill, I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And then the guy showed me his actual cost to just show me that there's no cloak and daggers. Like, here's the bill from the supplies. So it's really gotten crazy. But back to shows, when you go to an audio show, I'm speaking strictly as a manufacturer, cost of gas, well, if you're driving, actually forget about that. Planes.
3 weeks to wash down the drain.
But why 3 weeks, Dad? I know why, but
takes a week to get it ready. Takes a couple of days to get there, and you have the show, and about 3 days afterwards to get everything organized again, and then another week because the stuff has to filter back into you. It comes in by UPS, it comes in by trucking, and then you have to put it all back. You have to clean it all up. You have to fix all of it after the show.
Well,
3 week shot.
A lot of you have noticed B stocks and things like that on our website, on other people's website. I was just talking to someone yesterday, Music Direct, that's an HW40 open box. And I know what that one is. That HW40 was used at a show. And now it's an open box, B stock, whatever you want to call it, because once it's out there into the world, into the wild, it's been used, it's been marked, it's been whatever. So in a way, these are the things that manufacturers have to consider when going to an audio show. But now the past year, we've been doing the virtual shows. We've been doing this. And it's been effective. So we are going to be a lot more selective as far as what audio shows we do or do not go. At the moment, well, first of all, I'm not leaving the country. Munich is just I'm not going. You feel like going?
No, I didn't feel like going the last time.
Well, there you go. So it would say, and guys, I love, if I had to pick one show based off of my favorite show, I'd go to the Hong Kong show. I love that show. You never got to go to that one, Dad, but the people are great. The food is great. And I don't think we have anyone international on this call, but it's a different way of life in a way. When you go to Munich, then more so over in Asia, there's that respect for the manufacturer. There's I feel like the Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect because like in the,
Yeah, but if you get on an airplane, wouldn't you rather go to Florence, Italy, than to go to Munich? I know I would.
There you go. You have that as well. But that's why from an international standpoint, we're not touching anything. I'm thinking about just me, to check it out, going to Rocky Mountain. There is another manufacturer who's doing a massive VPI spread. And it's kind of funny, and going along with this conversation, when they reached out to me about this, I mean, they want to bring every one of my turntables. I was like, whoa, hey, and we're just going along for the ride. I'm just like, well, what do you need from me? Like, all I would like, if you could do it, please, Matt, I just want you there. I want you there. I want you to do what you do. I'm like, well, what do you mean? What does that mean? And he wants me there to do live streams, Zoom, pictures, video. And you know what he said? And I'm not going to say who, just, to be politically correct and things, but his concern is he's not worried. And this gentleman is an older person. He's not worried about his safety. He thinks he's going to be fine in that sense. He doesn't think anyone's showing. He doesn't think we're going to get the magazines or the distributors or anybody. So he's looking at it as, if he is going, when this all happens, assuming there's no other state shutdowns or anything else, that they're just going to present the greatest room they can. And if people show, great. If they don't, then we're going to get a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, a lot of exposure. We're going to connect live streams. We're going to have Harry Weisfeld there on a tablet or something like that. And that kind of made sense to me when they mentioned that and had commented about how, like, Matt, you're always doing live stream stuff. And so that's why I'm still up in the air, but I'm maybe leaning towards, yes, going to Rocky Mountain. Exponent, I've got no reason to go. Without getting too much into that, I can't say I agree with what happened with all of that. Anyone interested could do their own research. But the other thing is, I really wish the show providers would talk more. And I'm not blaming anyone in particular, but at the moment, they're jamming every show in October, November, October. So let's just say there's no COVID and we were to go. Then at the end of the year, right before the holidays, when manufacturers need their inventory most, that's a lot of
produce the most.
Yes, we need to produce. And when you're out there doing a show, your production's shot. The funds that are supposed to be going towards supply and production is now getting tied up in audio shows. So, and actually, since we do have other manufacturers, if anyone would like to chime in about that,
4 shows in a row.
It's actually 5 if you count NAM. We don't do NAM. We've had our product at NAM, but we've never actually done it.
The New York Audio Show, because that's the same time too.
I don't think is that even happening.
It's happening this year.
Well,
at the end of November. That's 5 shows minimum, all within 60 days.
So let's say that VPI went to 5 shows, and let's talk about costs for a second. Why not? It's Chat with Matt and Harry over here. This stuff still. Well, in a moment, I'm going to check all the chats because it looks like that's going up a little bit. But so let's talk about cost for a second. A standard room could go between $5,000 to $10,000, if not more, depending upon the location. So now let's say manufacturer, let's just say $5,000. So just to get a small room, and you go to all 5 rooms. I know it's higher in some cases with that. 5 times 5, a manufacturer just dropped $25,000 just for a room.
And there's nothing there yet.
Yeah. Now you have to pay for the logistics, the shipping, the everything. The New York show, one of the reasons we always drive to ship our product to the New York show, because there's extra fees, drayage, things like that. And again, I don't mean to make this sound like a knock on the New York show, because it's like it's any show. That if you were to do that, I think it was $2,000. Was the estimated price. We didn't do it. In that first year with the World Off Historian, this is going back 10 years ago, so who knows what the prices are now. It was going to cost us $2,000 to ship our product. That's when we launched the Classic 4, the Traveler, and everything. And so, like, $2,000. What the hell? We loaded up my car, and there was 2 cars. So someone else's car, and the 2 of us.
22 miles.
Yeah, we drove all the stuff in. I may have brought a little bit of green to help pave the way a little bit, but that though, I mean, like, was nothing. And we probably saved about $1,000. Let's count the gas and everything else. Let's say we saved $1,500. But if we weren't living so close, and I mean, imagine what it's like if you're a manufacturer in Seattle, Gary, or wherever you're at now, having to ship speakers, crate them up, get them across the country. So we've spent $20,000. Hypothetically, we've spent $25,000 on all these rooms. Now let's say $1,000 just to be in the middle of the road over here to get our product to and from a show. That's another $5,000. We're at $30,000 the manufacturer has spent. Wasn't planning on doing this breakdown, but it really makes you think as you go through it all. Now, who are you sending? Is it just the owners? Is it just the engineer? Are you sending the whole team? Let's say you send 3 people, just as a modest average number. Where are they going to sleep? Now you have to arrange hotels for every person, the food, the everything, the travel, and if they're getting on a plane, he's going to Munich. That's a heck of a flight.
Triple the price.
Yeah. And so then so you have all that, and now let's talk about the product. How much product is getting sent and potentially destroyed? With that said, I'm just going to pop up really quick and take a look at the chats for a second here. Let's look at the chats. Well, there you go. I'm going to look at the chats. You can check that out really quick. That might be 2 weeks to. That's right. Oh, even with the partners still costly. Others, yeah. Let me just get a little bit caught up. Pacific Audio. Oh God, yes, and the Pacific Northwest Audio Show. Okay, I'm just getting a little bit caught up. Let's see, through the roof. Yep. Let's see on the show. Yeah, so I just quickly got caught up on the chat while Harry checked out his phone, and that's the other thing, So and Gary mentioned about how it does mitigate by having partners, but one of the reasons we pulled away with that is, it was the New York show. Actually, I remember this show. There was a New York show many years ago. I wasn't even part of the company yet. And I remember that my mom was still alive, and it was a whole big thing because one of the partners was a digital company and was getting super pissed because the specific dealer, Toys from the Attic. Isn't that when that happened? The whole, so and the digital partner was super pissed because they were playing the turntable too much, and then that he doesn't want to pay as much now. Or actually, Mike, if you're still in the room, you actually really. I remember the CES show where the gentleman, Mike's in here. I remember that CES show 2001. I mean, I was there with my mom. I was really just hanging out, and the gentleman that you were partnered with was just nuts and basically pulled his equipment. I think because you were playing the VPI, God forbid, too much, and that was
it was the phono stage. We had made an agreement, and he thought his phono stage was better than the strain gauge, and he insisted that we don't play that. And I said, okay, let's get a bunch of people in here and just I'll stay out of it. Let's just get a general agreement, which one's better. And pretty much everybody said the strain gauge was better. And he said, okay, I'm taking my amps and I'm leaving. So he took all this, and we only agreed on really using his amps and his line stage. So it was a fiasco. We had to chase around some amps and another room, and it was just a fiasco. But we did have a room and sound, but that was the worst show I ever did. I've done a lot of them.
Yeah, I remember that because that was the first time I went where, they dragged me around to a lot of shows when I was younger, but this was the first show where I was like an adult, I guess you could say, can actually understand and appreciate what was going on. And I just was like confused because I remember I'm with my mom and I'm like, Mom, right. They can do that? And then my mom's like, it's a weird industry. And then I remember that I think if I remember knowing Mom, I remember we went over to that guy's room. I think my mom gave a shame on you speech to him. And I remember when we were in there, I was looking around because all of his stuff was on the floor with like lamp lights and things like that. It was like the weirdest thing.
The strangest part of all that, your mom was great. And I remember you guys were very supportive. But the funny thing about it was before he flipped out and we split the room up, we actually had a reviewer that said it was one of the best rooms at the show. And after we split up, he had junk on the floor, no speakers. He had some little bookshelf things that were just on the floor. And we had a sort of okay room. So it hurt both of us, but it really hurt him a lot. So it was a bad move on his part.
I want you to know that's the first show that I actually met Peter Letterman in person. Actually, that's the first time I met a lot of you in person where I was old enough to comprehend it. And, you know, my new staff members, they say the same thing of like, they hear these stories and like, they can't be. And I just remember when I met Peter, especially, you know, in that Jeff Joseph character who just popped in. And then I'm just like, oh my God, they're real. This is like, you're not kidding. And what I really thought was funny was, and kind of like a quick little story, when I met Harry Pearson. Actually, I'll quickly tell this. It'll be a nice segue into, well, Sid. I always heard the stories about Harry Pearson, and I was a little wacky because he was supposed to be there incognito, and me being me, and imagine me in 2001 when I had like zero filter and was lacking in some maturity. I'll admit it. I went to the front desk and I told them that I was Mr. Pearson's nephew and that I have his heart medication. I grabbed one of my mom's like bottles of medicine. So I'm holding it. It's like, oh, this is for my uncle and he needs it. He's going to die and blah, blah, blah. They give me his room number, which I don't think they were legally allowed to do. And I end up going to his room and he wasn't there though. So I left him a note and I don't know what the heck I was thinking. I wrote like the most like, just like Dr. Pearson, we know where you sleep. We know where you this. We're coming after you. Like I wrote this whole big thing. And I slid under the door. The second I did that, I was like, did I just screw my parents? I mean, did I just create a problem for my dad? Was this a bad idea? And so then fast forward an hour later, there's a thundering at the door. And mom answers the door. And there he is. I hadn't met him yet. I go, where is he? Where is he, Sheila? Where is this man? There's one. And, you know, so then I got to meet Pearson and I hit it off with him. And we bounced around from room to room. And all of the stories I heard about him and Peter and all of you crazy characters, especially Jeff Joseph, and you know, it was all real. And that's a kind of a nice segue. It is from the collection.
No, I just wanted to show Gary. I found another one. Amazing. Found it on eBay. It's in perfect condition. 64 years old. Perfect condition.
By the way, Dad, I like that when you talk to a specific person, you suddenly like, you know, talk louder into it. It's like, let me talk louder and slower for you, Gary. So, but that is a good segue into the other topic of it is, well, first off, guys, goes off to edit to everybody. And, you know, for later on when I post this video on YouTube, you know, take care of your stuff. Well, first, take care of yourself and your family in general and everything else. But if you're able to identify someone to help you out with your collection or things like that. I remember the old joke, and I think it was serious. Didn't you have a friend that was worried about his HW19 because it started as a Mark 1, he was upgraded to a Mark 4, and he thought he was gonna die. And well, basically the friend had told my dad, he's like, Harry, they have no idea. I was so worried. If I died, I thought my wife was going to pay, was going to sell it for what she thought I paid for. You know, so we all have those stories where, and
yeah, he did all the upgrades and never told her.
That was one of the big hits of the HW19 because that was the perfect product to start at the low end and then upgrade all the way through, but still look the same. And I think there was another person, it was like a cleaning lady where she noticed because she was cleaning it every week.
The printer. The printer had a pair of Vandersteins, 2s, I think, and he traded them in for 3 signatures or something like that. And the wife never noticed. And one day the cleaning lady said to her, I can't reach the top of the speaker anymore. What happened? Boom.
That got him in trouble. So, but so another thing that we want to mention to you guys is that and talk about is Sid's collection. Did you grab
I just have some things here. Sid Marks has been collecting records since the mid-50s. And there was a source in Europe who would send him records all the time as they came in. Deckers, EMIs. I have no idea how to pronounce this, but it was a French label, Odin, just a whole laundry list of these things. And he also loved jazz. So I'm finding all of these jazz records from way back when. This is a contemporary. The original label, a stack of the RCA 1S copies, first printing, direct to discs.
Guys, what we're doing, because like Jeff, you've asked about and everything else. So I mean, anybody who wants to come down and take a look, you know, we can make an appointment type of thing or something like that. Otherwise, we're putting everything on the website, and you know, and what we're doing is we're looking at the condition, we're looking at the pressing, we're evaluating it, and then we're just going online. And wow, a lot of people are joining us now.
He has no London Phase 4s. They're all Decas. They sound completely different.
Yeah, and we're finding a lot of records that are sealed. Now, something we might do also is we may actually even do some live stream presentations of certain records that are open, just to show it and everything else. And as we go along, well, it's going to take us months. I was going to say weeks, but it's going to be months to catalog all this. Like right now, the VPI house looks like Sid's house. It's just loaded with all sorts of records and everything else. So like that whole front entrance when you walk in is just loaded. So we're going to spend some time to organize it. And also, here we go.
1S.
And actually, I'm sorry, I forgot to, going back to audio shows. So the show that we are going to physically go to, and a lot of it's because of the space and how large it is and its driving distance, is the Capitol Audio Fest show. So we're going to be, and we're kind of looking at more so as an opportunity for everybody to see each other, you know, just hang out. You know, I don't even know what product in the show. I don't really even care. I'm probably just going to show another HW40. Like, it's not even about product presentation. It's more about like, hey, we're live. We're good. We miss you all.
I just opened this up out of nowhere, and it's a box set, and they're all 1S.
And we're going to take a whole bunch of the Sid records in general, and we'll probably even just sell them right at Capitol. Though, you know, not like the super high quality ones, like the ones that are kind of like they're good, but they're middle of the road, and just have like a nice little box of so because we know how much Jeff likes to go through and check all these records. And you too, Gary. Actually, all of you, you're all sick. You're all sick people.
This is magnificent, and they all look new.
Yeah, so we really have a whole bunch of stuff in the collection, and
a lot of EMIs, boxes and boxes of EMIs. Yeah. Oh, Tchaikovsky, Queen of Spades. This is magnificent.
we're seeing all of them available through the VPI website, and we'll be presenting and showing them and everything. So
I think this is a 1S also. Touring that.
So now at this point, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to open the floor to all of you. So now, so we have three things we talked about. We talked about the audio research photo stage, which we're looking forward to really putting it through its steps in the VPI house. Harry had a chance to mess with it. We discussed audio shows in general, so we will be showing up. Don't count on us, basically, and we are going to really reconsider, which shows we do go to or not, just because of how we've seen that we haven't really needed them. We're going to go to shows because we like them, not because of business at this point. I think, is that fair to say, Dad?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
never played.
So now again, turn the floor over to all of you, and if anyone has questions, comments, or anything, now the floor is open to everybody to chat with Matt and Harry. And let me just check the chat over here on my office computer with no. Let's see. Well, it's good to see you too, Jeff. Wait, do we have you on camera? Okay, there we go. Hey, there's Jeff. Look at that guy.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Harry.
Shelly Mann does Peter Gunn.
Oh, all those contemporaries are great.
Yeah.
So you want to take a whole bunch off our hands, make our lives easier?
Sure. I'll just hop in the car. Right over.
On Atlantic.
Oh, sure. I have that one. The fun test.
Fantastic. Ah, I love this record. I've got a disaster of it. Arthur Lyman at the Crescendo. Love this record.
Never heard it.
The Bridge.
Oh, gee.
Pretty sure
Sonny
this is an
Rollins.
original.
I can tell by looking on the back
If I could
cover
only see, I could
at the
tell you.
bottom.
Gary says, just send me every one that Jeff already has. Good plan. Let's see, I'm not sure I didn't miss anything.
One S.
Uh-huh.
One S. The Bridge.
Tom, oh, I just lost it. Well, I'm going to say hi to Tom, who's apparently a new dealer and just got his product and is liking it. So thanks for joining us, Tom. Yeah. So whole bunch of records. Now, other things that you guys will see on, first off, from the manufacturers, because we have a bunch in here, we are going to get back to having product. We're going to get back to doing presentations. So I felt a little bad because, I mean, like Modrite, since they're beautiful integrated. And, so we had that rocking and rolling. Then he needed it back for an audio show. So then we got another one in from Dan. And then as we got it in, that's when things kind of slowed down. And again, I keep saying slowed down. It's not that it's slowed down. It's more like it's sped up for me personally because had my baby. And I think it was Pat Matucci from the Home Integrator who had made the joke about how you're not really a parent until you've had your second kid. And I used to give him a hard time, like, oh, come on, Pat, what are you talking about? And then once you have that second kid, you're like, oh my God, now I got to chase after this one while I got this one crying and everything.
Wasn't kidding. Phase 4 again.
What's that?
Decca. Crazy.
Oh, and don't worry, there will be emails about this in the future. This was a spur of the moment one because before the birth of my child, we had a weekly thing. Actually, we used to have it twice a week. We did one on Sundays at 8:00, and that's usually when I had my daughter down-ish, kind of, sort of. And then we had another one on Wednesdays at 1:00. Actually, I'm not really sure. Oh, that's why. Harry's usually down Tuesdays and Thursdays. So when I talked to Harry about it last night, he's like, yeah, let's do it. So it kind of went from there. But last year, before my second born, we had a nice little schedule where it was a Wednesday, Sunday thing. I can't do that anymore. I mean, now that there's the second one around, and getting my daughter down around 8:00, that's like a thing of the past because now it's they play off of each other. Where when one's ready to go to sleep, the other one starts crying. When that one's ready to go to sleep, the other one, So, and in the past, it was kind of more like Sunday was for just kind of like the just BSing in the industry, and everything else was a lot more relaxed. For fun, I would usually have like a whiskey with me when doing that one. And then Wednesday was more hardcore for like customer service questions. And actually it kind of worked out. There was a handful of customers that actually were having some trouble with stuff who got that visual one-on-one, and it worked out nicely. So, but we're getting back to it. We're not going to do that's right. Now I'm a real father having the two kids, and it's I can't believe the temperament of my second one. Shyla was fantastic, but Goldie, it's like I tease Jane all the time. It's like, do you have this kid on drugs? She's too relaxed. She's too easygoing. Yeah, she just hangs out and everything. So we are not going to do a twice a week thing like we did in the past because I just can't handle it anymore. And what do you think? Tuesdays, 1:00? Yeah. So I think we're gonna have a week.
Goldie.
What's that?
With Shyla and Goldie.
Yes.
They should have their own chat.
Well, I didn't see it, but I heard that. So when I do my live stream, when I was doing my live streams at home, and I haven't been doing too many live streams because I try to set aside time and everything. But the last couple of live streams I did at home, where like I'd have that window, I was trying to do something with the tone arm, and I start doing it. I'm 5 minutes in, I hear "Daddy," like boom, 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 Daddy, like hey, and that was the one where I ended up talking about Martin Logan speakers because she was sitting on it. I wasn't planning on that. It just that's what happens. And I heard that someone had gotten upset saying that I was using my child as a marketing tool, and I always try to keep that separate. Where it's if it's a VPI event and she's running around, that's one thing. But like when it's when I'm at home, And she's like, you all know, you can't control when a kid literally just runs in. It's like, oh, here we go. So, and
Martin Logan is just the right size for her to sit on.
yeah.
It's like a little bench.
Exactly.
And whenever I play hide and seek with her, like there's 3 main spots she hides, and one of them is behind the Martin Logan. So I can just, but so it makes things interesting.
Would you guys like to do a record Zoom where I hold up the records and you tell me whether you want them or not?
Okay, sure. We could just do
Not
that
now.
FaceTime.
No, a completely separate thing. I just hold up the records. Everyone goes yay or nay.
Well, like an auction in a way, virtually. I mean,
If somebody wants them, I don't have to sell them. I could leave them here, and then you know
Right.
when you want them, you get them.
Well, like we had that, I think it was Billie Holiday we put up, and I got multiple phone calls from Robin Wyatt, and I missed the first call. And then after like the second or third one, I was like, oh my God, is he okay? It was like, take it off the site. Hold that record for me, Matthew. I'm like, oh, geez, okay.
Wow.
He's got a lot of original jazz here, and a lot of
Yeah,
people
well,
want that.
those contemporaries are definitely something I'm interested
Yeah,
in.
so he's got Pablo's,
Oh, yes.
and
That's
he's got
great.
the 78 RPM micro groove records, the audio files.
Oh, okay.
He's got a lot of those.
And guys, just to throw out there, I just saw in the chat over there. So if you try to buy one of the records, they're limited quantity. Now we may have more, we just don't know. So we haven't setting it as a stock limit. So if you try to buy one and then you suddenly can't, that means someone probably already bought it. So now it's just it's gone. So there was, and they've been selling pretty well. So it's they're, and when I say selling more, it's like moving well in general.
By
So
the way, there's about 300 Mercuries, and they're almost all FR1 or RFR1, and a beep load of RCAs.
Right.
But the number one, I think, is Decca. So many Deccas. It took us 3 hours to separate them.
Guys, I'm going to quickly share the link for Sid's collection, and it's supposed to remove the record once it's out of stock. I haven't had a chance to double check with this stuff, but these are the records that are available. I'm going to put that in the chat really fast for everybody. And what I'm going to do now, guys, because we are up on the hour, I'm not going to end, but I'm going to do a quick little, so here's a link to, everybody. And then what I'm going to do is I will turn off the record button, and then you all can still hang around, and we have the after hours off the record side. So for the official side of this, guys, thanks for joining Matt and Harry for another chat with Matt and Harry. And, so again, we're going to do a weekly think of this. Today we talked about the audio shows, and just to sum that up, we're not going. We're going to try Capitol. And frankly, if things aren't looking good when we get close to Capitol, then we're not going to go there either. So it's just a matter of how things are going in the world in general. And I'm just kind of looking at it, since Capitol Audio Fest is at the end of the year, it's one of the last shows, and because of all the shows that are next to each other, I mean, if I'm going to pick one, I want to be one I can drive to. So, I mean, if we're still having troubles by the end of the year, then we've got bigger things to worry about than audio shows. We got the audio research photo in, so, we actually used it. Harry is, when are you getting your next shot? Monday. He was supposed to get it last week.
Monday, I forgot about it.
Someone was playing with records.
Got so involved with the records, I forgot the second shot.
So yeah, but as of next Monday, he'll be all set, and we'll be in good shape there. As for me and my staff, we're all too young and non-risk, so it's like, forget it. It's like
By
a
the way,
nightmare.
let me toss out this thing. If you've never heard an original Mercury, let's say an FR1, which is a really very, very early first one, where Pearson mixed it from the 3-track down to the cutting head with no intermediary tape, like all the later ones have. He did it live. And then you put that through a sugar cube, very low level. It feels like you are listening to a master tape. It is unbelievable.
We're going to actually cover the Sugar Cube next episode, because Harry we were supposed to get one at the Florida show. Then basically the guys left. They had a unit for us. They left and forgot to leave it, and but we finally Harry got one, has been messing with it, but we'll talk about that more next episode. But I've heard their demonstrations. It's I think it's pretty great. I mean, in the sense of I know there's whole debate as far as the digital is put in everything, but if you have an amazing record that's shot to hell that you can't listen to anymore, I mean, it's bringing it
They're all
back.
60, they're all 60 years old. They all have noise.
Yeah, so
You can do that in post-processing through isotope as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that
but
it
this
also
really works.
does a great job
Beautifully.
of cleaning up records.
And it's something that you don't have to worry about. In other words, I don't need my computer there.
Right. No, that's much simpler through the Surger Cube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A one-box solution.
So guys, thanks for joining us for this. We're not going anywhere. I'm just going to kill the official VPI side of it. So I'm Mat Weisfeld. That's Harry Weisfeld. Catch us next Tuesday at 1 o'clock for another chat with Mat and Harry, and we'll see you next time.